Welcome everyone. We're just going to wait for all the participants to join and then we'll get started. Perfect. We'll just give another couple of seconds and see if there's a few more come in. Nobody wants to start too early. Okay. What are we, 3 minutes past? Yeah, well, if people are happy to start, I think we'll go ahead. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Science and Engineering talk. So we are joined by Dr. John Keating, who's the Associate Dean for Teaching and Learning for the Faculty of Science and Engineering. So John will be giving tonight's talk, which will be great. And I suppose as another perspective, he is also a Maynooth graduate, which is even better to hear. So he'll be able to talk to you from a couple of different angles there. We're also joined by Hannah, who's a third-year computer science student who has kindly given up her time in the run-up to her exams. So we're very appreciative of that and the fact that she'll give the very important student perspective. So there is a Q&A box at the end, so please do send in your questions. Some of them may be answered directly in the box, but some of them may be answered live, okay? So if you just want to continue to send them in during the talk, we'll be very glad to have them. Okay, so I'll hand over to you, John. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks a million, Laura. So hello, everybody, and welcome to this talk. I'm just going to share my screen with you, and then hopefully you should be able to see. Okay, so I'm hoping this is visible and that you'll see this. So
That's
this is
perfect, John. Thanks.
Thank you. That's great. So this is Maynooth University. In fact, this is the Maynooth University Library, and it's the newer library, in fact, and it sits in front of a much older library that was there from, in fact, it arrived at midpoint when I was a student in Maynooth. But so it's a beautiful campus, and this is just one nice view. And but we're going to talk a little bit about the science and engineering, and I'm delighted to be here. In addition to what Laura mentioned, I'm also a lecturer from the Department of Computer Science, and I last year moved into an associate dean role, which is an executive position within the faculty. And my job was to look at all the teaching and learning offerings that we have available in the faculty, and to look at quality, to look at new options, to advise the dean, to advise my colleagues, and to look at, what's happening with teaching and learning in general and the impact that has on teaching science and engineering, and also on learning science and engineering. So it's an interesting job. I'm looking forward to doing it. I have experience in teaching since 1990. So I hope I have a little bit to offer on that front. Right, well, let's get straight into it. So we're going to talk a little bit about STEM and at Maynooth University, MU, and I suppose the primary is to just have a little introduction to science here and engineering here, and talk a little bit about our core science program, which is MH201, and then an overview of the special science and engineering degrees. And again, as Laura mentioned, Hannah, who was one of our students, computer science and software engineering, is going to give you a little bit on the student perspective. I'll come back in and give you my perspective, having been a student and a staff member, and myself as well. I'm a Maynooth alumnus. I did my degree here a while ago. Okay, so the Faculty of Science and Engineering at Maynooth has a few departments. We have a biology department, chemistry, computer science, electronic engineering, experimental physics, mathematics and statistics, and psychology. And if you're looking and keeping an eye on the university website, you'll see that we recently had a merging of two departments, the experimental physics and the mathematical physics, so we have a department of physics. And you'll notice that we have some new offerings as well, because we'll have a new faculty member, a faculty department on and it'll appear a little bit later on nutrition, health, and so forth. So we'll see a little bit, and you'll notice that we're looking at sports as well, and we have some sports offerings. So we'll see the arrangements of the actual faculty structure will change a little bit. So interestingly, we have psychology in here as well, and you can look at having degrees in all of these subjects here, and some specialized degrees. So we also have world-leading researchers here, not just teachers, and many of the world researchers actually work in research institutes and also teach. So we have the Callan Institute, the Hamilton Institute, the Institutes for Immunology, and the National Centre for Geocomputation. So, these are really, really important places to develop strong problem-solving analytical skills, and also for contributing to knowledge and contributing to science. Science and engineering, it's not a situation where you're going in and you're learning what's there already and what's known. And in fact, there's a lot to know. But also we're looking at new things, and many of the new things that we're learning about now and that are evolving now. This happens in the research institutes and also happens in departments with individual researchers, and then that's brought to the department. So, for example, if you look at what's happening in artificial intelligence at the moment, then you'll see lots of research happening in artificial intelligence, and then that's been brought in and taught to the students in computer science. So the idea as well is we want to reinforce the skills here. Practical sessions, we have state-of-the-art laboratories that are constantly evolving. I mean, and our students are happy to work in these labs, and they really are good, nice environments, nice places to work. It's also an opportunity to develop advanced teamwork, leadership, and numeracy skills. So you can develop all of these skills in all of the subjects. So it's a really, really important opportunity for science students, and lots of these are great for many sectors in the labour market, and they're also great for you as an individual, to help with your personal challenges in learning. So with science then and MH201, it's actually, it's your degree, you have your choice of subjects, you can shape your future, and it's very flexible. You can make an informed decision. You can talk to us in advance of coming. You can look at the web. You can look at all the various programs. And when you come, you can actually spend 4 weeks in the first semester going to some of the lectures in the various departments, seeing how it would work, and what you'd like, what you don't really think is for you. You might find that actually something you did in school is very different when you look at it in first year, or something you never studied in school. You can look at and attend and find, oh, actually, I can do this, and I really like this, and I might be interested and motivated. So you don't have to make your decisions straight away. And there's also transfer options available. You see all these triple stars here. There's all sorts of caveats and things, but there's always somebody to help, that will help you with those decisions. But no decision is firm in the first while. But I mean, when I came to university, to do biology. I ended up getting a degree in physics and maths and stopped doing biology after first year. Hadn't done physics in school, learned it in first year, and it was really interesting. So spend some time going to the various lectures and learn something. So in order to participate here in this degree, MH201, you need to have 6 leaving cert subjects, 2 honours 5 and 4 honours 6 or H7, Irish, English, and a science subject, and an 04 H7 in mathematics. There's no language requirement here, and the CAO points for minimal entry to science MH201 in 2023 was 350. So there's lots of links that you can look at and find this. I'm not an expert in all of those aspects, to be honest, because we see students when after they get through, and I'm sure Laura and some of the other people will be much more experienced on this if you have questions. So really, you have 8 subjects to work with. So you choose maths and 3 other subjects in first year. Then you have 4 weeks to decide on the subject choice, and you find out a little bit about all of those. And there's also critical skills and electives available in the second year with all of the subject combinations. And these change from year to year, so it depends on you as an individual. So you can, you have a way of, shaping your degree. And as I mentioned in the latter part of this talk, there are ways in which you can actually shape it even further. By the time you come to university, get to second and third year, we have new ways of exiting with a degree that's more aligned with what you want to do in life. So I'll talk about those again. Okay, so first year, there are various pathways. So we have mathematics and 3 other subjects, biology, chemistry, any of these 3. In second year, you can continue with 3 subjects. And there are various electives that you can look at, and you have third year, you can have 2 subjects, and when you get to fourth year, you can have 2 subjects or 1 subject. So it's like a double honours or a single honours degree. we talk about credits here in terms of electives and modules. Credits are the amount of work that's associated with a module or a course that you might take within a program. And lots of courses or modules are 5 credits, some are 10 credits. And they estimate the number of hours of work that we would expect you to be able to do. So in a 5 credit module, you might have 2 lectures a week, maybe tutorial. In science, you might have a 3-hour lab as well. And then you're expected to put in your own time. So if you want to look about credits, you could actually talk to us a little bit more detail about that and or check online. They're often referred to as ECTS credits as well. So you can have a peek at that. Of course, there was lots of transfer opportunities to specialist degrees from MH201. So, you could transfer to MH202, which is a BSc in biotech. And again, there are constraints, so there are requirements along here. So, it's a really good idea, even though you're coming in first year, to have some sense of what you might want to do a little bit later. I'm interested in astrophysics, for example, or data science, or computer science and software engineering, or electronic engineering. Then you need to look at the column on the right here and know exactly what you need to do, and also the grade. So if you take, for example, the 210 BSc Pharmaceutical and Biomedical Chemistry, your students have to take mathematics, biology, and chemistry, and one other first-year subject. Okay, then the students have to achieve an overall grade of 60%, and they're limited. So that's quite competitive. But if you know from day one that's what you need to do, then you have a sense of like, well, I have to be really achieving this in some ways. So it's really, really important. This table is important. If you know early on, what you need to do and what that work. And I'm sure Hannah can tell you a little bit about that from her experiences in computer science and software engineering. So in terms of the various pathways, again, 4 subjects, these are the credit weightings. So you might have 15 credits in each of the first year, 4 subjects. And then you can see here that for 4 subjects, including mathematics, 15, 15, 15, 15. So this gives you an indication of each, this will be spread over 2 semesters as well. And, you might give you an indication of how many lectures a week will I have. So it'll probably be 2 lectures a week for a 5-credit module and a lab. So if you're doing computer science, a couple of lectures a week, 3 hours labs, and then that covers your 15 credits for the year in computer science. And the year is split over 2 semesters where you have 12 weeks and 12 weeks. And there's examination at the end of each of the semesters. So as Laura mentioned earlier, Hannah will be looking at the exams now, and they will be based on the last part of 2023 or 12 weeks in 2023, where there would have been all her her first semester modules. And you can see that the credits increase in that subject area as you move along and progress. So if you're going to 4th year, you would take 60 credits of subjects spread across the year in 2 semesters. And depending on the later years, you may have they may not all be lectures. There might be practical, there might be seminars and so forth, and there might be different kinds of participation where different kinds of learning opportunities for you within this. But all of the modules are available online, and you can have a look at the modules in each subject and get a sense of the kind of way they're taught and how they're assessed, and also the expectations we have from you as a student learner. So, question people ask is, do you single or double honors major? What's the best way? So it gives you the flexibility, the course, MH201, to make that choice once you're familiar with the subjects. And for what's right for you will depend on your future plans and interests. Okay, so and it depends. And I mean, in my experience, I wanted to be a teacher when I was a student. So I was thinking a double honors would be good, because I would be able to teach 2 subjects. And then midway through, I decided actually I want to do a PhD in physics. But so the maths I did with that helped me in a way. But students might think about doing, well, I want to be a physics and chemistry teacher, or you might think I just want to go on and go into industry. So you might focus on one subject. So lots and lots of options, and and it starts early on in terms of knowing what's available and working out your path as to what you want to do and how you might achieve your goals. So lots of jobs, immunologists, meteorologists, statisticians, astrophysicists, physicists, mathematicians. I mean, I know, having studied physics as a student when I finished student physics, and because of the problem solving associated with many of these, I mean, there were management consultant jobs that were available, because there are problem solvers, and there's lots of lots of options. And of course, these will change all the time depending on the subject you do. Remember, it's not just about what you know on the subject, it's about how you learn and how you can continue to learn and how you know about solving problems. And that's what employers want, and that's what is good for you and good for society. So you may actually know already what you want to study, and you have lots of specialized degree programs here. And so these would be MH202 biotech, biotech and geographical sciences, biotech biomed, pharmaceutical and biomedical chemistry. It's a great course in chemistry. And we've a new one on sports science and health, one on food science and human nutrition are coming on stream. And of course, psychology, which can be taken through science. And like psychology would be an accredited program. And it's really, really important that to know that, if you do psychology, it is accredited by the professional societies, as is engineering, in fact. So there are some more data science degrees, astrophysics with physics, theoretical physics, mathematics. Sometimes these are 3-year degrees, science with education, maths and computer science with education, and mathematics with education. So if you really knew you wanted to teach these science subjects, this is a great way to look at those with 212, for example. Computer science degrees, of course, I'm quite familiar with these, and we have computer science and software engineering, which can come through arts, and also computer science and software engineering through science. The arts one is a 3-year degree, the science is a 4-year degree, and they're slightly different. You do a little bit more computer science in the through science option than you would with arts, but then you get more art subjects, so you're able to look at computation in an arts context or a humanities context. And you may have heard about digital humanities or humanities computing. If you look at digitizing the Book of Kells or these kind of texts, then it's not just enough to know about the computer science. You need to know about the historical context for those texts and looking at linguistics and computation. So what you don't get in terms of the core computer science and theoretical computer science, you actually make up for greatly with those options there. Also, there's multimedia, web development, and there's computational thinking. That's quite a theoretical degree, really challenging. If you want to be challenged, you're doing computer science, you'll know about this from school. If you're doing computer science in school, it's a great degree, great degree. And so we have engineering degrees as well. So we have a Master of Electronic Engineering, the bachelor's, the BSc in electronic engineering. There's product design, robotics, and intelligent services, which is becoming more interesting of course now, and that will be AI. Of course, will make a huge impact on this. And really, there's been an engineering update in the last few weeks. So Engineers Ireland has recently accredited Maynooth in terms of both its engineering, the 304, and robotics, intelligent devices. So MH304, MH306, they're now accredited engineering degrees, and they now share a common first year. So it's possible also to transfer between the two of those at the end of first year. So assuming you have the correct grades. So, you start off core, you can switch between them. It's really, really great to have those options. And it's really noteworthy because MH304 requires higher level maths and MH306 does not. So you could start with, MH306, and then if you do well and you suddenly find, oh, I'm actually great at this maths, you could switch between one or the other. So a great idea would be to check out engineering at the university, and there's a link here to the department, and we'll share these slides, I guess, so you'll be able to find those. And also, there's a new robotics lab supported by Intel. It contains robot arms, mobile robotics, robot dogs, humanoids, and that will open at the end of this month in January. And the new agricultural robots facility will also open in February on the Maynooth campus. And you can check it out by looking at www.auroraproject.org. You can always contact the website, contact the staff, the department, if you're interested in looking at engineering and where engineering is going and if it's there for you. Not everybody finds it easy, okay, when you go to university, just the way. So we all need supports. And so the academic supports for students are the Academic Advisory Office, for example, the Program Advisory Office, the Math Support Centre, Computer Science Support Centre, the Writing Support Centre, Language Support Centre, and the Career Service. So, if you have challenges that impact on your learning, or you're struggling, or, you just really find it difficult, not necessarily with the learning, but to be in a new place, there are all sorts of supports available to help you. And personal and academic. You can check out the website to see those. You'll be told about all of this on orientation as well. But Maynooth's a very inclusive place, and it's a nice place to be. And and I can say this from being both a staff member and as a student over the years, and it's changed. It's changed a lot in the time I was a student, but it's really useful to know that these exist. I'm quite familiar with the Computer Science Support Centre. It's staffed by students, for example, a lot, and some tutors. And, so you have students helping students. And, what's really, really interesting is that a lot of the students want to help the other students because it helps them learn. So teaching something to somebody else, a peer, is a really valuable way of learning yourself. And so lots of students, Hannah could tell you a little bit about this perhaps as well. It's a really, really good way to learn. And it's and it's a good and it's rewarding to be able to help others as well. And sometimes, it's nice to get it from a peer than it is from a staff member. Sometimes I remember, you'd ask a lecturer or something and they tell you the answer. And then you say, I don't really get that. Could you explain it again? And then they just they say it to you, but louder, or or they might try something different and it doesn't work. And, because there may be some nuance you're not getting. And sometimes a friend helps. So yeah, so it's a great place to actually to get support. Some important dates for you, I guess, is that the open days have finished. The CAO evening is now. The spring and summer open days are on the 27th of April and 29th of June. I'll be there, Laura will be there. We'll have lots of students there. All the departments will be there. You can go visit, you can ask some questions, you can email us. And also then there's an information day for guidance counselors as well on the 10th of September. So, you can look at maybe coming, and if you're interested, and coming in and spending more time with us and finding out if Maynooth's the place for you. So I should say, just to finish with this, is that we are constantly changing our programs and our offerings, and there are lots of new items or new lines coming in, and new programs coming in place, and new degrees and new ways of of exiting the degree with an award that might be more specialized. And that's happening all the time. And I guess this will happen over the next year. And so by the time you apply and by the time you graduate, you'll have lots and lots more options. I think I'll leave it there. And Hannah, you might want to come in and maybe follow, unless there are questions on that part, Laura, that I could deal with now beforehand, or not.
Yeah, whatever works best. There's a few specific questions that I might actually just ask one or two of them now, and we've a few afterwards. Something that came up, which I think might be even better. I know you mentioned it, but a question is, what specifically are credits? So I suppose it's understanding the different terminology and what that means to a student.
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. Okay, and it's often, we probably should do more work in helping people understand what it means. So if you have 15 credits, it's a way of balancing and ensuring that the amount of work in each of the various subjects or courses or modules that you take is balanced. Okay, and it gives you so it allows us to be able to do this. So it allows us to be able to give a list of topics. So every module will have a module title, a list of topics, the amount of things we're going to cover, topics we're going to cover in this, and then the assessment that you will have, the number of hours assessment, the number of labs, the number of exercises. And so you will be expected to, it gives you a sense of the amount of work and effort that's required by you as a student. So you might be looking at 120 hours or something for 5 credits. I think that's correct. Is that, am I a little bit out? Let's say
I don't know the specific.
Let's say it's 120 hours. That means then, you might get 2 lectures a week for 12 weeks. That's 24 hours. You might have 3 hours lab a week for 12 weeks. That's 36 hours. You might have a tutorial or something in there once a week. That's another 12 hours. And then you say, well, what's what happens with all the rest of these, 50 or 60? So that's work that you're expected to be doing and putting in yourself. So that's how it's measured. So very often the number of credit hours will be much higher than the number of actual present hours that you have to be in terms of participating in a module.
Yeah.
The extra is the amount of effort that you're supposed to give, and we expect you to give. If you're doing less than that, you're probably not doing enough, okay, in terms of your homework and your study. If you're doing more than that, you're probably overworking at that one thing. right? So there's only so many hours in the whole semester, and it's balanced, and it's great, and it's an international standard, so we know that it's something that meets the quality and the qualifications with those credits. Then it's it's a good way of comparing one module with another in different places and so forth. So and means lecturers like to talk, you know. I mean, like at me, I never stop, right? So we could go on and on and on and give you more and more and more. And it allows us, it puts constraints on us as well to make sure that we don't overwork you as well, you know. So it works all the ways. Okay. I hope that answers that question, you know.
No, I think that's great. I might actually let Hannah talk because there's a few
Yeah.
questions, but they might be good to kind of, they're bigger, detailed questions
Yeah.
as well at the end. So, Hannah, if you're happy to start, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah. So, hey guys, my name is Hannah Bektassos. I currently study MH602, which is computer science with software engineering, true science. So, when you go to the CAO, you get like two options between just doing it with software engineering or doing it with multimedia. So the reason why I did it with software engineering is because in your third year and second year, there were specific software engineering modules that I really wanted to touch on. And especially like for Y Maynooth, especially this is the biggest thing Y Maynooth for me, was they teach you web processing in second year and not in first year. I just didn't want to be like overburdened with so much work in my first year and have like a nice introduction year to coding because I never coded before. So that is why I picked Maynooth, because majority of other colleges all do web processing, like making websites first year. And I was worried about being too stressed. So I decided I think Maynooth will be for me. And for college life, I've been really active since first to third year. So I was like academic rep for second year. I was also part of committees for a lot of the other societies like Computer Science Society, Women in STEM, and Game Society as well.
Brilliant. So as you can see, Hannah's very busy and has been for the last number of years. So I suppose one of the things you kind of mentioned there, because it sounds like you did research the course quite well. And I suppose that was one of the things I was going to ask you when people say why Maynooth or why a particular course. I suppose it was more to do with the preparation that you did. And I suppose in what preparation you might have done. Is it open days? Is it like that, sitting down and going as detailed as modules per year?
Yeah, so what people can do if they really are interested in the kind of modules that is at Maynooth, if they go to Maynooth's website, look up the course code, there's a link called Find More About This Course Structure, and it will do a drop-down menu of what you do in every single year. So I kind of like stalked what was like for all the first and second years, because I feel like first and second year is really important because it's like your introduction year. You don't want to start something and you hate it. So I wanted to make sure that I was starting something that I was gonna love. So doing that bit of research really does put in the extra help for surviving college for the first few years.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. I mean, we hear it's all about research in the run up to the CAO, but that kind of shows it. I suppose just one or two of the things about the course to ask about. I mean, some of the opportunities that you might have gotten through the course. I know we mentioned internship and scholarships that you have been worked very hard to receive. So if you want to mention one or two of those, I think people would be very interested.
Yeah. So it's actually a bit of a story, if that's all right. But I'll try to keep it quick. So in first year, they like to invite all the computer science students to actually try a demo for our computer science summer camp. So you'll be teaching secondary school students. I'm pretty sure it's happening again this summer. So they tend to hire a lot of the first years to demo to give you some like code experience. And I did that when I was the first year, and I also worked under John as well. So it really helped having like something under my belt. So went into second year, an opportunity for second year computer science students popped up. Microsoft decided to partner with Maynooth University to do a software engineering project. I was one of the 12 students who got selected, but I think that was based because of the computer science camp and having a project done already. So, and I don't think that many other colleges gets this amazing opportunity, especially with a big company like Microsoft. And we just got to do a project and go visit the actual campus itself, and we networked quite a bit. So at the end of third year, or sorry, at the end of second year going into third year, I was in the middle of the process of going through my scholarship. So that was the end of second year when I applied for Generation Google, which is a scholarship for women in computer science. So there's a lot of scholarships out there that target women in computer science because they really want to motivate you to stay in computer science because a lot of people tend to drop out. So with this, I was given the great news that I got it around the end of July. And because of that as well, I also got motivated to do a summer internship. And I think because of the skills I've learned in first and second year, it really gave me the courage to own up to my skills and go on to do a summer internship. And that was with a cybersecurity company. And that summer internship was targeted for master's students. So I feel like Maynooth really did put me in a position where I was ready, but that's also because I did my own work as well. So it's important to keep yourself motivated and keep going. So now I'm in third year and I'm just enjoying all the benefits of just like learning because I don't feel that stressed. Because if you put in the work early, you won't struggle that much in third and fourth year then.
And I think I'd like to echo that. I think it's very clear from just listening to you speak about the course, how much you're enjoying it, but also, you know, Maynooth has offered you a lot, but you also should know, and you do know, that you've worked very hard yourself to put yourself in the position to be able to get these very, very prestigious scholarship. I think that should be highlighted. And I was reading up a little bit more about some of the opportunities you've gotten from the scholarship. I suppose some of the things the scholarship, the Generation Google Scholarship involves, and you have a Google mentor, is that correct? Yeah, I mean, that sounds very interesting.
So with the Google Scholarship, basically what will happen is they will give you a large sum of money and they will fund you for the remaining years of your college. So if you get in fourth year, they pay fourth year for you. If you get in third year, they'll pay third and fourth year. And I do have a Google mentor. So we meet about once a month, but this month he wants a break because I'm doing my exams. He wants to give me a bit of a chill time. And I've met a good few other Googlers and been to their office, and it's just so inspiring because a lot of the other mentors were Google Generation Scholar like receivers who received it like even 12 years ago. So this has been going on for a long time, and I always encourage people, especially the general entry, because I feel like when you see a big name like Microsoft, Google, they're too afraid to try. But if you don't try, you'll never know what you'll get. Because that's how I got where I am today. I tried everything. Like even for all the summer internships or internships I've been placed or all the jobs I've gotten, every recruiter says the same thing. If there's like 10 requirements needed off you as a computer science student, but you only fit 3 of them, that's enough. You should apply. Always give everything like a try because you never know what will be given to you.
That's very positive, encouraging. I think recommendations. There's actually, just while I have you, I suppose there's one particular question aimed at you that I think I might just fire at you while you're chatting. So it is, what is the greatest fear and challenge as a computer science student? So I suppose you might have echoed some of that about confidence and things like that. But I know we did speak before about maybe, you know, making sure you were happy with the level of maths and different subjects like that you were going to face. So if there's anything you have to add or want to add.
Yeah, I think the greatest fear as a computer science student or even a software engineer, just even after your degree, is imposter syndrome. I feel like you always find yourself that, oh, I'm not to the level of people around me. And you should stop comparing yourself and just work on your current skills. Because if you just set yourself a goal and keep going towards it, you'll just improve naturally. But imposter syndrome doesn't go away even after graduation. Because I've been to a good few talks, even the Googlers, they're still like, yeah, I still have imposter syndrome, and it's been 10 years since I graduated. Because computer science is one of those degrees where it's constant learning beyond your degree.
Yeah.
This is just a kickoff. This is where it starts.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, I think that's covered an awful lot. You've given a really good, I suppose, overview on the path that you've taken. I suppose the effort you've put in throughout the time, and you're only in third year. So I mean, more questions might come in the next few minutes, but I might just pop back to John and let him give his other perspective, shall we say, and let some more questions come in if you want. And also we have some sitting waiting, so it's busy enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura, and thanks, Hannah. You know, I've known Hannah since she was a first-year student, and took on that role, working in the labs, having completed very well in first year, I might add, you know, too. And really, what struck me is that it was being proactive. You know, I mean, you know, even though the opportunities weren't always there, obviously there, she, you know, stood out because she came and knocked on my door, for example, said, I'm interested in doing a project. Can you help me or will you? You know, and when we see students like this, we say, yes, of course we do. Because, you know, why wouldn't you? You know, you've got somebody who's willing to learn and willing to do something. And, you know, and it's really interesting that, Hannah has kept in touch over the years, and we worked on another project together a little bit later. And then she keeps me on my toes as well, because, like, you know, she sent me these AI security challenges coming from things that were I think, gosh, I have to actually do this, because if I can't do this, like, it looks so bad, you know. And so I love it because it keeps me learning, and like Hannah mentioned, like, so accurately, that, you know, I have been teaching computer science since 1990. That's a long time now, you know, and every year there's learning. And if you're not learning, you're not a good teacher, and you have to enjoy learning in order to be able to teach and to do what I do. And, you know, good students coming along is great. Is a great way to do this. And I always wanted to be a teacher. That was what I wanted to do. I didn't know about universities really at all. I came from a working class family, country school, the VEC school. No one in the school, I think one person in the school before had ever gone to university. You know, no one in my family had ever gone to university. I didn't do science in school. I did some biology because of the way the numbers worked. I was in the girls' class in school, so girls didn't do science when I was a student. So they just didn't do physics. So I didn't do physics, and, you know, honors maths, I had to go to the local convent to do some honors maths because it wasn't in our school either, you know. But and I was useless at maths. Got into university because Maynooth had good options. I was able to get in, having not done lots of science subjects, and I started, and things haven't changed really. So, and again, I went, like we say, I mean, this was 1982, and if you're trying to work things out, like, I'm 59 this year, okay, so it's you know, things haven't changed in many respects in terms of how inclusive Maynooth can be. And, you know, and I mean, Laura's going to schools. I'm sure she's saying the same things that were said to me. We had somebody come when I was a student in secondary school, and I thought, yeah, Maynooth sounds lovely. And I'm a Kildare man, so it was great to be in Kildare, and that kind of stuff. And so I learned very early on that you have to work hard, much like Hannah said, I wouldn't have got through college if I didn't have county council scholarships to help me. I worked on campus like Hannah. Again, after first year, I got a job on campus in first year working with computer science. I never studied computer science like at school, but, you know, so, and then, you know, so all the time there's constantly changing. And the thing is that if you love learning and you're not afraid to look at something new, Maynooth will provide you with great opportunities. And that's the way it was for me. So, I mean, in many respects, I'm a good bit down the line from where Hannah is, but our stories would be very, very similar. You know, you get some help, you get some mentors, you get the encouragement. And, you know, it happened 40 years ago and it's still happening now. And it's wonderful to see that. And that's what makes Maynooth so special in a way. And, you know, and again, I was one of these students, I hadn't done physics. I decided I'd go to maths physics, I'd go to experimental physics. They start you from scratch. The same thing happens with chemistry. They start you even if you haven't done it. They invest in you and they invest in your learning. And that still happens now. So Maynooth has been brilliant. And I mean, I went right through having not done physics to getting a doctorate in physics, having come through, having done really badly in maths early on in school, just suddenly seeing why we have maths when I started in physics. So, you know, and then I got a job in Maynooth. I'm a lifer now. You know, I've been here. I was in computer science, and I've been involved in computer science through arts and digital humanities. And again, we have lots and lots of brilliant students coming through computer science and the arts program. It's a wonderful program, shapes the way you think, and you know, you can have great opportunities for making contributions. I suppose I'd like to say that as a teacher and teaching, we have wonderful students coming through Maynooth, and we have it's a very special place because there's a great support for students, with students for other students. It's amazing to see that support. We have, as Hannah mentioned, STEM and women in STEM is really active. We have lots of women doing computer science, lots of women doing really, really good stuff in computer science, and encouraging other women the whole way along, you know, to help with that. And it's wonderful to see this. And you know, we have great opportunities, great men doing computer science as well, you know. And no one matters. Just as long as you're a computer scientist, that's what matters. Nothing else matters. And you put the effort in. And we have this thing that we talk about, like, you know, which is enculturation. And it's where you learn to be rather than you learn about. So you come to Maynooth, you learn to be a scientist, you learn to be an engineer. You don't learn about science and learn about engineering as the end point. It's about transforming you. And that's the point of any education and any learning. And I think that I learned that in first year, all those years ago. And I think it's still happening, and I'm really proud to be involved in that process, you know, and I'm really proud to see the students doing well. The scary thing for me is that, like, you know, last year I met one of my former students on campus, and I said, "Gosh, why are you here?" And he said, "You know," I said, "God," and he goes, "Yeah, you just taught my son who's just gone through." So, you know, so it's got to the point now where I'm like the teachers who taught my parents as well. So, and there's still loads for me to learn. So, yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's really that personal bit. I think it's good to let know as an alumnus from Maynooth. I think it's important we share those good experiences as well.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
I
Laura.
think it's completely different perspective, and obviously you're wearing many hats at the moment, so it's nice to give that. There's a couple of questions that came in, some of them quite early, so I suppose I'll just mention a few of them. One of the first ones, quite specific, and I suppose you might be able to give just a bit more detail. They want to know, is there an option to study pure mathematics kind of on its own in an accelerated program, or is it just offered alongside theoretical physics? So obviously someone quite interested in maths. I'm wondering, can they study kind of maths on its own?
And generally, there's that math science program, which is the
Yeah.
3-year honors type program, and
Yeah.
that's currently the only program that does that. You know, the maths physics, I did both. I did maths physics, and physics myself, you know, and that math science program was there in place when I was a student as well. It's very hard, very challenging. I don't think I was good enough at maths. I was good enough at maths physics probably, but I think it's complementary. You know, you see a lot of those. I wouldn't be too put off by the maths physics. I think it would be really worthwhile having a look at the actual modules, really to see for yourself, to see how well that they're actually aligned, because it's I think it's in any of the courses in Maynooth, you can actually come and check at this page here, you know, in terms of the courses, and you can work through, and you can, okay, I think I probably have just one of the computer science ones here, but you can actually go right through to say these are first year mathematics and see the mathematics modules. You can look at mathematical physics, and you can go down and you can see the actual mathematics. And really what's interesting about the pure maths is, in some respects, is it's really nice to have that maths in context, you know, and so they complement each other in a way. And so yeah, so not really, as I say,
Yeah.
there's pure program you would like, but actually it's a really good course. I'd love
Yeah,
to
I was going to say there's often reasons for that, like you said,
yeah.
applications and kind of logical reasons why things are put together.
And there are options as well, Laura, sorry to cut across you, in order to be able to go and do, you know, with 3-year degree, you could then do a master's and specialize in some aspect of mathematics as well and go on to doctorate. So we have students studying at that level in the university as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. There is a person that asked, they're kind of wondering that would mobile and web development not also fall under the kind of computer science and software engineering, but obviously we offer them as separate programs, and I suppose they're just looking for a little bit more information about kind of why they are different offerings.
Okay, it's a good question too. A lot of the time it comes from the department, because that would be a collaboration between computer science and media. And so there would be that context and media perspective and the applications within media. And it's absolutely correct that in computer science, we offer courses in web development, and there would also be media and music technology information that will come in as well, modules that come in there. I used to teach the web development courses actually, and then we taught it right through at the master's level web dev. We taught human computer interaction design. Again, all of those aspects will be taught as part of core modules in the computer science and software engineering degree, where you see them around second year, and in the general computer science double honors, you see them in third year, but you will see them, and yes, they're there. Lots of web experience. Most of the projects, I think Hannah could probably fill me in on this. Most of the projects that you would see at fourth year, and I'm sure Hannah's even thinking about the fourth year at this point, there would be web dev projects, both front end, mobile stuff. So yeah, lots and lots of those things.
Brilliant. And sorry, it's kind of a, I suppose, now related question as I'm reading it. It's someone asking, can they work in the film industry with a computer science degree? So I suppose you kind of touched on a few. I know the film industry specific and how big is that question, but I suppose maybe some of what you're talking about covering.
It's, I suppose it depends what you do. I mean, talking to our colleagues in media would probably be a good place to start as well. I know that we have had computer science students who have been hugely into gaming, and really, the gaming aspect, in terms of the graphics and generation of graphics and, all the CGI stuff, you would have a good firm foundation for being able to do that. You would probably need to do some specialized courses as well yourself to augment those. But, if you're interested in the CGI aspects, there's that. But there's also, okay, what do you think about it? If you look at deep fakes or any of these kind of media type stuff, I mean, CS people can do a lot of that stuff as well and are good at that stuff. We have students who are able to do all sorts of fancy AI things now, that would be useful for media and useful, I mean, media is changing. Film, what's a film now, really, I suppose, and yeah, it's yeah, I think it would be good, but I would look at some of the careers and look at the options first.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, there's a couple of more, so I'll just mention them. I know we're going to wrap up now in a minute or two. So just to say, this one came in quite early, and I mean, it's about the science with education course. So I suppose maybe your opinion on, someone was asking, would it be more valuable to do the MH201 in biology and maths for 4 years and then to do a separate 2-year PME for teaching, or to do the MH212, the science to education, obviously in biology and maths? And the reason they're kind of querying it is obviously it's 1 year shorter to do the MH212, but they are questioning, is the less credits in biology and maths going to be kind of impacted obviously by the education credits? So I think they're just wondering on balance, is there an overall difference, or what your opinion on that might be?
Okay. Yeah, it's always a balance, and a tricky one at that. And I have personal experience in a way, because I studied physics, maths, and then computer science, and then I did my master's in education as a separate qualification, and then I did a doctorate in education following that, again, building on all of those subjects too. So I'm the kind of person that would look at incremental building, because I think it gives me more options as I move along the way, in some respects. A lot of it, the points, I mean, I should have done a master's in maths before I did my PhD in physics, but I couldn't afford it, right? Because I was only going to get one undergraduate grant and one postgraduate grant, and that was it. So there are time and money constraints are always there. The courses that you do in the education are really valuable, in terms of that you gain all that practical teaching experience. So you can't look at, like, what am I missing out in biology if I just do it through that program? You have to look at what I'm gaining. It's always to look at the gain, and that gain allows you and gives you that early on specialization and understanding of the subject, because it gives you that understanding on how to teach the subject, gives you more insight into what mathematics is, for example. Why do we teach it? Why do we learn it? What's important? And that nuanced aspect is also really beneficial for you as a learner as well as a teacher. And you might find that, well, I might just go into industry. Like, my teaching skills are important. I might go into commercial training, or I might go into support, or any of those aspects as well, having had that education. You might not just be going into a school.
Yeah.
And like, we also have like we're currently supervising a couple of final year project students in computer science and maths, and they're actually doing educational projects. So they're learning about how to teach and build e-learning and e-tech stuff. They say that the silver bullet in computing will be education and online education. Of course, that's been superseded by the fact that we have AI now. But you know, if you do and learn how to teach and understand how to teach and build online tools and online learning environments, then you may actually be moving into a new industry, not just the education itself. So maybe it's a long-winded answer, but it depends on you and where you're going. But you can be absolutely sure that in 4 years' time, when you finish your degree, the jobs will be so different.
Yeah. No, and that's brilliant. And again, there's still, I suppose, still a chain of questions coming in, but I'm conscious we need to just take 5 minutes before we log into the next one. So what I might say, if there's any questions that come in that haven't been answered, more than happy to either have them sent to departments or sent into the admissions office have an online help desk called Ask. It pops up on the website. It's a little chat box. So if there's any questions that you want either further information on or that we haven't got through at the moment, because I know there's a couple of detailed ones. So if you send it on into the Ask chat box that's on our website, we'll get back to you tomorrow with lots of those different answers. Okay, so hopefully you guys have found that helpful. Really thank you for all your engagement and great questions, and hopefully we'll see you on campus very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all. And if people want to contact me by email, it's john.keating@mu.ie. I'd be happy to answer questions as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that. See you now.
Cheers.